I'm going to do another political video. I've been thinking about this for years. Sometimes in comments, I meet Democrats who watch the Nut and Fancy Project, who watch the GRVs, the gun review videos. I've talked with them. I've enjoyed talking with them. They seem like cool people. Most have said they own guns for the same reason you and I own guns, which is self-defense, defensive purposes. It's not plinking, not recreational, not hunting, self-defense, defense of freedom. That's the main reason I own guns. And in conversing with these individuals, these Democrats, they concur. They go, yeah, that's why I have too. And outside the TMP world, I've talked to individuals like this as well and engaged them, not in a confrontational way, because many of these people I really like hanging out with. They're fun. They have a great sense of humor. They like good food like I like good food. They like motorcycling. We hang out, we have a great time. But when the conversation turns to gun ownership, maybe it comes to light that this individual, we'll call him Steve. This is purely fictional, but it'll be representation. It will be a representation of people I have talked with on this. Steve says, yeah, I have a SIG in the house. I'm like, really? What kind? Well, I got a 226. I'm like, awesome. Thumbs up. Great gun. What do you have it for? Well, it's just in case, someone breaks in the house, the world goes up in flames. It's nice to have a gun. And the reason I would quiz it in that manner is because in previous conversation, I know of his political beliefs, which are along the lines of the Democratic Party. And I'll ask him, again, not confrontationally, but I'm curious. I'm like, well, so you believe in gun rights then? And then almost without fail, they'll switch gears. So here a person has a defensive-minded firearm in their house. And maybe it's more. Maybe they have a pump, riot-style shotgun, an AR-15. They have a pistol. Maybe they have some ammunition reserve. And yet they're Democrats. And question marks like a cartoon character just pop up all around my head. And I'm just flummoxed. I don't get it. In talking with you guys in comments, and I love you guys, thanks for being part of TMP, and I don't mean this to be confrontational with you either, I don't get it. And this video is to give you an opportunity to perhaps describe why you are a gun owner and you're a Democrat. And let me caveat that. And if you're pounding furiously away at the keyboard, relax, take a deep breath, breathe out, let the tension release. It's not that big of a deal. Let me finish before you comment, because you may say something in your comment that makes you look really dumb, really foolish. What I'm talking about is, again, not recreational target shooting, not competitive shooting, not hunting. And there's a lot of Democrats that have firearms for all those reasons. We've had several presidents who have said as much. I think Obama's even said it. I don't think he has guns, but he said, yeah, I've gone out and shot skeet or whatever. They do so to make them seem like middle America and to engender themselves with what they honestly think are a bunch of out-of-touch, goofball, redneck Americans, and that's their terminology, not mine. That's really what they think, but it's when they're running for office or whatever. That's a game they play. But there's a lot of Democrats that fall into that category. I'm talking about without rule of law, gun ownership. That's why you own a gun. And without rule of law can happen in rule of law. So you're downtown, you're in a dark alley, you're going to have a little piece of without rule of law come to you right now with this evil dude who wants to either murder, rape your wife, kill you. That's an WROL situation. Do you have a firearm to protect yourself? If the answer is yes, then you are on board with the self-defense, I am ultimately in charge of my destiny issue. That's where I have a disconnect with a line of thinking with the Democratic Party. Now, inevitably people will show up and go, well, but that's them. It's not me. And I still don't accept that, because you are voting for people who want to take that right away, who have historically, and it's not even debatable, taken that right away at every given opportunity. Now, are there outliers? Are there, strong Democrats, whether in the House of Representatives, Senate, senators, who have voted to protect gun rights? I would say yes, there has. You can go on NRA ILA's website. You can type in some stuff. I think you can find out the letter grade rating of your elected representatives. Most of these people come from rural states, maybe Montana. There might be one in Illinois, South Dakota. There's a couple. They have really good, these are Democratic senators, representatives, if memory serves, that have voted with the freedom issue several times. And I love those guys. But I think they're outliers. So, I want the discussion here to be civil and respectful in tone, because anytime you talk about politics or religion, people get very heated very quickly, especially online when everyone's anonymous, right? And they say or do things that they would never say or have the guts to say to another individual face to face. Pretend you're talking to that person face to face and discuss in that manner, in that fashion. And I think all your online communications should be that way. To do anything else is cowardly, in my opinion. So be cool. But I'm talking to the Democrats who own guns for defensive purposes. Why are you a Democrat? I hear what a lot of people are saying because I've had this conversation. They'll say, well, when it comes to the gun issue, I'm very conservative, I'm very supportive, but I'm very socially liberal on social issues. Well, I'm not. I'm conservative pretty much across the board, even on social issues. I make no apologies for that. And if you don't like it, that's just the way it goes. I'm kind of liberal when it comes to the environmental issue. So I have my own weirdness, just like a lot of people. I'm very pro-freedom. I like very limited government, blah, blah, blah. We get that. But I think to be genuine intellectually, a gun owning for defensive purposes Democrat, if they say the following, I can respect it. If they go, I like the gun issue, I have guns, however, if and when it becomes necessary for the greater good, I've talked about that a lot in other videos, that I have to give my gun up, then I will do so. And this is the other part B of this, is I think to me other issues are more important than the gun issue. Then I can respect it. I don't agree with it. I think it's foolishness, but I can respect that they're being intellectually honest, once again, by saying this issue over here, and I don't want to bring up those issues because in the comments we'll have 100,000 comments on that issue if I bring it up, so I can't do it. I want it to be laser beam focused, tracked onto the gun rights issue, okay? But if they say, this issue over here is more important than me keeping my guns, and that's why I'm a Democrat. Okay? But don't represent yourself to be a freedom-loving person that owns guns for defensive reasons, for WROL reasons, and act like, as a Democrat, you support gun rights, because it just is fallacy. It's not true. Your party doesn't. It has a record of not doing it. Yes, there are outliers. I've discussed that already. But I'm going to read you off some measures that the Democratic Party and their lobbying groups have hugely supported and continue to pressure Congress for day after day, month after month, year after year, and if given a chance, they will pass. And it comes primarily from the Democratic Party. Now, I know what some people are saying. Hey, the Republicans are no better. And I hear what you're saying. Take a deep breath, cleanse. But they have a much, much better track record as a group over a span of, let's just say, 3 decades. And that is not debatable. You can bring out the fact that, well, under Reagan, the machine gun bill passed in 1986. I get that. Under Bush, the assault weapons ban passed. I get that. And I'm not a big Rhino fan. I hate him. I think the Republican Party is lost. They don't have a rudder. They basically rubber stamp whatever the Democrats are doing because they're fearful of fallout from media and public perception. That's a whole nother video. I get it. I'm on board with that. But we do have some very staunch Republicans like Ted Cruz who have stood up, who have taken a ton of flack and criticism to defend your gun rights. Now, I don't see that very often from the Democratic Party. I don't. Go back after Sandy Hook. I did several call to action videos where we did letter writing to the House of Representatives and the Senate, and almost without fail, can't actually off the top of my head think of any senator who supported it when they're discussing universal background checks and all the measures which were being pushed forth after Sandy Hook. I can't think of any Democrat that said, no, we're not doing this. There were probably a couple actually, but by and large, the Democratic Party said, yeah, rubber stamp it. Obama wants it. Boom, boom, approved. We're on board. So the following issues the Democrats love. Again, I'm not trying to be confrontational to my Democratic friends who watch the project. I love having you around. Thank you for watching. I really, this video is just trying to figure out why. It's almost, and I'll get to the issues here in a second. It's almost like, and I've told people in conversation this, I was like, when they go down the gun road, let's go back to Steve. He has a 226. He believes in self-defense, and yet he votes Democratic. He voted for Obama twice, someone who would really, really love to confiscate your firearms. Don't say otherwise, because that's not true. I've told him, I was like, I hear what you're saying, but I don't believe it, and I think you are trying to live a double standard, that you say you believe in freedom, you own a firearm to protect your freedom, and yet you're willing to strip it away from others, and you continually support financially or by votes a party who seeks to do just that. I told him, I said, you'd be better off to just sell your guns and say, yeah, I don't have guns. To me, that's a principled progressive, a principled liberal. That I talk to him and maybe they say, yes, I support universal gun registration. I support eventual confiscation. Guns like that, they will say, and I'm quoting them, don't have any place in American life. They're the cause of a lot of pain and suffering. I think we should just get rid of them all. And then if I ask, hey, do you own a gun yourself? And they answer no, I'm like, okay. At least they're being principled. That's my point, is to be principled. Either sell your guns, either be in or out. So if you're a gun owner for defensive reasons and you feel that you are a Democrat and rock on, then I would vote for people who would support those gun rights. Unless, like I said, that issue is way down the line for you personally. In other words, I'm this issue, that issue. Again, I don't want to name them because then the whole video goes that route. And then they stack maybe in 9th position gun rights. Okay. People who will come to this video and they'll say that. They'll go, yeah, I own a gun, but it's not that important to me for the greater good. I'm willing to give up my gun, and I'm willing to have people kick in your door and take your gun. And I'm being serious. People have said that. Like, yeah, if it comes to it and there's confiscation in America, I totally support it. I'll give mine up, and I expect you to do the same. And if you don't, I'm okay if people kick your door in and take it. I've had people tell me that. So here's some of the things the Democratic Party, and this is not a complete list, have supported. Ready? If you doubt me on these, Google them. Do some research and you will find, if you want to go back and say, oh, the Republicans are bad too. And again, I'm not defending the Republican Party, but there are some really great ones who have defended your gun rights. That, in your state, you're able to have a magazine over 10-round capacity. You might want to thank some Republican legislators because they voted to preserve those rights. Look at Colorado. That battle was lost. Where were the party lines on the magazine capacity, the 15-round magazine capacity that did pass in Colorado? Were the Democrats standing up and going, oh, dudes, no, more rounds better? No. They said, absolutely, let's have this 15-round ban. That is not debatable, guys. Not debatable. And if anyone says in comments otherwise, sorry, it's garbage. It is. Waiting periods. There's a 10-day waiting period in California. That is a Democratic measure. Arsenal licenses, ammo limits, and bans. You're only able to have 500 rounds on your property. If you have more, you have to register it with the government. Which party put that forth, Republicans or Democrats? Universal registration. Feinstein and Schumer are huge proponents of this. So is Obama. Why? For the greater good. Does that come from the Republican Party? And again, I hate to say the Republican Party because I don't want to promote them. But I want the focus to be on the Democratic Party and just show their voting record. So I just want the truth to be known. Firearm safety certificates, much like they have, I think, in Europe. So in order to be a gun owner, especially a defensive handgun, or heaven forbid an AR-15, you would have to have a firearms certificate issued by some police authority who will look at you, who may look into your medical records, who you are, talk to friends, and do basically a background check on you, and they can revoke it at any time, thus revoking your right and privilege to own a firearm, says them. That is, a proposal by the Democratic Party, or has been in the past. Magazine bans, capacity limits. I've talked about that already. Democrats love those. Guns banned by name, California. Democratic proposal. I mean, go look at the House of Representatives, the state Senate in California, and go look at their voting record on any of these issues, and you tell me. See if you have a leg to stand on. If you're a Democrat and you go, oh no, they vote for the gun issue. No, they don't. All these are, what is it, 85% of Democrats, I would say, and that's not a statistic that, I would say, oh, it's total gospel, but I'm just ballparking it. About 85%, in my estimation, of Democrats are for these issues. De facto ban on new guns, and that is a California thing. So if it's a non-enumerated, non-DOJ approved firearm, you cannot own it until, like in California, I'm just using them as an example, it has to get on the DOJ list, and once we've looked at it and approved it, then you can own it. So it's basically a de facto ban on new guns, because your gun of choice may never make it to that list, and that's exactly what they want. They want to pare the list down. They want to make it so there's 0 guns on the list. Who supports that, Republicans or Democrats? In broad terms. No private-to-private transactions, frequently called the gun show loop. Obama's already addressed that. He's a Democrat. Hey, we want a background check every time there's a gun transfer. And there we go. I called that years ago. I knew that was coming. Outline all full auto suppressors, 50 cal guns, all NFA items. Who has proposed that? Which party? Microstamping. Which party advocates that? Microstamping of firearms. Oh, by the way, and that can often affect that DOJ approved list in California. Hey, new guns coming in, you better have it microstamp. I should say have a microstamping feature built into the gun. So every round, every casing that is ejected from that semi-automatic handgun is stamped so we know who it belonged to. Microstamping, which, if last time I checked, has proven to be a huge failure. Not a consistent or legitimate technology, last time I checked. Open carry bans, which party supports that? Difficulty or prohibition of concealed carry weapon issuance. Which party has been against private citizens, not military, not law enforcement, carrying concealed weapons? The Democrats. I'm just saying historically what has happened. Implication of all UN gun ban proposals. Which party advocates that? Democrats. Hey, UN gun ban is coming out. We need to obey it. We need to abide by the UN gun treaty. Democrats. Usually the Republicans are saying, no, we don't. They do not have jurisdiction in the United States of America. Look it up if you don't believe me. Voting against allowing gun transport. Feinstein voted against you checking a firearm in an Amtrak train unloaded. Feinstein. So she's, one of the key players in the Democratic Party. Smart gun technology. So the gun is attached to you, only you can fire it. There's all types of problems, technology issues with that, but which party advocates smart gun technology? By the way, I don't. I think it's ridiculous. Assault weapons ban. Which party? There's some other things I'm not going to say. I'll go to this one. Mandatory storage requirements. hey, we need to make sure you're storing your guns properly on your property, and to do so, we're going to have inspections. We're going to come in and inspect it. If you fail an inspection, we'll take your guns away. We'll take your right to own guns away. How about looking into your medical records to qualify you for gun ownership? I was up in Washington State, and Bill Gates funded a movement up there. I forget which prop it was. I've talked about this in other videos. Said, listen, you don't qualify as a gun owner because of this. We found it in your medical record. Maybe you had a nervous breakdown in 1976 after you came back from Vietnam. Or maybe it was let's say 2005 after you came back from Iraq. Whatever, we have made a determination you don't own guns. That was a serious proposal that made it to the ballot in Washington State. It was supported and put on there by the Democratic Party. The only reason it was defeated is because the NRA and Tanya Mataska came in and they educated people about it, spent a lot of money on radio ads and said, listen, this is what's going to happen if you pass this. It went down in defeat. But that proposal was not put there by the Republicans. It was put there by the Democrats. How about suing gun companies into oblivion? Which party promoted that and continues to promote that? You guessed it, the Democrats. Listen, I don't hate you because you're a Democrat, and I don't want this to be the focus of this video. But what I see, and you've gotten this already in this video, no doubt, is there's a hypocrisy. That I own guns to defend my family, and yet I support financially, through my votes, through talking to my neighbors, a party who strives to take those guns away from me and every American citizen. To me, that is a mind grenade. I just can't wrap my head around it. So if you're a Democrat, you're a gun owner for defensive use, not recreationally, because a lot of Democrats will own guns for dove hunting. And it's like owning an ATV or a badminton set. They're like, yeah, it's a tool. If they want it, they can have it. Like I said, guys are like that. So I don't really count among those. I count people, Democrats, who watch my project because my focus isn't about duck hunting here. It has been about target shooting a lot, but a lot of the focus is defensive use of firearms and your capability, your right, natural right, by the way, to own those firearms. Why? I already know the arguments. I doubt I'll learn anything new from your comments, and I'll try to jump in. I'm always busy with a project, my real job, but I'll try to jump in and maybe I'll learn something. Maybe I will. I don't think I will. I think a lot of the Democrats will say, hey, I'm pro-freedom, I'm pro-gun, but I'm very socially liberal. Those issues are super important to me. Okay, they're obviously more important than the gun issue, and that's okay to say. That's okay to say. It's honest. I don't agree with it. I still think it's foolishness. I think most of the people who watch this video will say as much too, because that gun preserves your freedom. Your freedom ultimately when things go really, really, really bad. That gun allows you to be free. And that's been proven in history. This is Nut and Fancy Project. Thank you for watching. Again, breathe deep, cleansing breaths, be cool with each other. It's okay to disagree, and these are some big issues, but be cool with each other. That's all I ask. Thanks for watching. See you later.